Welcome back to Bold of You to Say, the showcase of the hottest takes on pop culture. Jared wasn't available this week, but I did get to sit down with our unofficial gaming correspondent Jake and a new guest, our friend Cam. We went on for a bit about Nintendo's approach to local multiplayer, Airsoft as a gateway into the gun debate, American attitudes towards buzzwords like socialism, political ads, and underrated Disney movies. As always, there are timestamps down in the description so you can skip ahead to whatever topic you'd like. Our social media will be linked in the description, so if you disagree with anything we said in today's show, you can yell at us there. If you're listening on YouTube, you can leave a comment telling us what we're wrong about, or you can suggest a topic for next week's episode. Now, without further ado, let's get on to the show.
I feel like Nintendo is like the last big name company, besides indie developers, to continuously put out games that has local multiplayer.
Yeah, it really seems like local multiplayer is it's been slowly dying,
Which is really unfortunate because, in my opinion, I think it's a lot more fun to actually sit down with your friends right next to them and play games right next to them instead of doing it all online. That's why people still do LAN parties nowadays. Even though they have all this internet stuff, they still, go to one big meetup and they still, play games together locally with each other because it's just fun.
Yeah, it seems like, especially on PC, the idea of couch co-op is only still alive in certain games. Like, the only games that I can think of that still have any kind of couch co-op are, like, I guess the Lego games, if anyone plays those. I mean, I do, but I realize that a lot of people, most people do not play them. Or there's certain games that are specifically designed for couch co-op, like Screen Cheat. But I mean, even then, that's a specialty case.
Right. I mean, Rivals of Ether has local multiplayer, and it's gotten even better now that there's workshop support. Because workshop support on online works, but it also doesn't work.
Yeah. And it is also one of the few games in which you can play as Obama.
It is one of the few games that you can play as Obama.
Or Ronald McDonald.
Or Ronald McDonald.
Or a literal bag of sand.
Or a literal bag of sand. Or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson that automatically kills everybody in one hit.
You know, you should be able to play as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in more games.
Get to it, Sega. Put Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the next Sonic game.
Put Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the next Smash.
I'm sure people have made memes of him. One game that I wish that had local multiplayer or lane support is Armello. I'm not sure. Have I discussed Armello before with you, Alex?
Definitely not on the show. I don't. I mean, I'm sure you've told me about it. It's one of those 2D platformer games, right? One of those retro looking ones.
No, it's a top down board game.
Oh, okay. Almost. Yeah, I'm thinking of something else then.
Yeah. But you basically play as 4 different characters, and your objective is to kill the king to be the next king or queen in Armello.
Okay.
So you'll do all sorts of different quests and stuff like that in order to get more points to hopefully be the last one with the most points at the end, or the one to actually kill the king.
All right, yeah, that seems cool.
If you're interested, you can pick it up on Steam right now because it is on sale for 30% off. I think it's $14 from what I remember.
Nice.
Let me check real quick.
Just a small little corporate side shill,
Yeah, it's $14. Support the devs; they're pretty cool. But yeah, it's I would say Nintendo is probably one of the last few companies that does co-op right, because list how many list how many first party games on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One that had split screen multiplayer. Exactly.
Yeah.
There's like
Yeah.
you can't think of anything. I mean, besides like the Call of Duties or like
Was just about to say.
or like NBA or FIFA or whatever crap.
Well, yeah, it's like the assumption is that everyone that buys this console will be the only one playing it, and they will have a strong enough internet connection.
Right. Or they'll be willing to pay services to play online.
Yeah, like how much is PlayStation Network? It's something absurdly expensive.
How much is PSN Plus? PSN for a year. $60 a year.
Okay, I guess
So
that's not too bad, but still, that's a whole game per year that you could be buying, but instead you're just paying for the privilege to play online.
Well, you do get like 2 or 3 free games per month.
Okay.
With that whole subscription thing. It was like with Xbox how they did Xbox Live games with gold, which I think Xbox is actually stepping away from that, because I think from what I remember, I don't remember what article it was, but I think they're getting rid of the auto renew 12-month gold membership. So they may be completely phasing that out, and they may just be going with like free online, but they're still going to have the Game Pass, which they've been making a killing on Game Pass.
Yeah, I definitely have been very skeptical about games as a service and like subscriptions for games, but Game Pass has proven to be a pretty good value.
Well, I feel like Microsoft is doing it right rather than PlayStation, because Sony had PlayStation Now, where you could stream like PS2, PS3, PS4 games to either your PC or your PS4.
Why not just make it like a virtual console thing where you can just install older games? Why would they make it so you have to stream the games?
Yeah, that I don't understand, and that creates a lot of latency issues, as well as just general. It limits your audience of how many people can actually use that service.
Yeah, they developed that and they released that long before something like Stadia or like GeForce Now, because like now they've kind of perfected the process from what I've heard. I haven't used it personally, but it seems like they're perfecting it. But I'm sure back when PS Plus game streaming was more popular, I'm sure it was nowhere near perfect.
Yeah, and back then, oh gosh, it was awful, because I believe PlayStation Now, oh goodness, or sorry, not yeah, PlayStation Now, the whole streaming service. On top of having to pay to get into that streaming service, you would also have like a limited amount of time to rent the game. So you would pay like you would pay like on top of the subscription fee. You would pay like, I think it'd be like, I don't know, like $10 to have it for like a month or something like that. It was absurd. It was really, really dumb. But I feel like Microsoft is doing it right with Game Pass, where it you have the subscription, you can go through any of these games that are in Game Pass, download them straight to the console and play them.
Yeah, and I also like that you get a discount if you want to actually purchase the game.
You get that?
Yeah, on Game Pass. Let me look. You get a pretty decent discount on most, if not all, games on Game Pass. Yeah, so like looking at Gears 5, it's $40 regularly, $32 with the discount.
Okay.
Bridge Constructor Portal, $10, marched down to $8. Sunset
Okay, so
Overdrive is $19.99, marked down to $16.
So that's kind of like a 10%, 20% discount. Not a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean not much, but at least it's something.
It helps a little. And how much is Game Pass per month?
They just raised it. I've actually been meaning to cancel my subscription because I don't use it that much, but I believe this month actually they're
It costs
raising
10.
they raised it from like $5 to $10, I think.
Okay, so it's $10 per month or $120 per year. So, and I know that they do deals, or not deals, for like first time subscribers or whatever. You get like Game Pass for like $1 or something like that.
Yeah, I saw an ad for that.
And then I think they had like Game Pass Ultimate or something.
Yeah, I guess that has more games.
I'd have to look it up. Okay, Game Pass Ultimate. So that gives you Xbox Live. Oh, and the discounts.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Here it is. So PC, because that's what I'm looking at mainly. Access to over 100 high quality PC games, new games added all the time. Xbox Game Studio titles released the same day. Member discounts and deals. Ultimate is okay. So Ultimate is for console, PC, and Android. So you get all of those.
All right.
New games, exclusive member discounts, free perks including in-game content. Okay, play games on your Android mobile phone and tablet from the cloud. So you also get into the xCloud beta through the Game Pass Ultimate. And it also includes Xbox Live Gold, which is typically $10 a month. So basically for an extra $5, you get you basically just get like the Netflix of games.
I mean, I like how Xbox is doing it. I personally prefer the Valve structure of online being free, and you just buy games old school style.
Right. Well, I think PC has always been like that.
Yeah, because I just prefer to own games that I play. I'm just
It's
a
because
little
you're
old
also
school when it comes
you're
to stuff like
also
that.
having to pay for your internet.
Exactly.
So it's like now you've got a subscription service on top of a necessary service.
Right.
Yeah, like if I've spent a fair bit of money on my Steam library up to this point. Now, if I had gone with like a subscription service, like if let's just say Steam switched over to a subscription model and I had been paying for it up to this point, I would have still sunk a lot of money into my Steam library, but if I had to stop paying for whatever reason, I can't play any of the games that I have gotten into.
Right.
I guess the exception to that would be like if they had like an Audible kind of model where you pay a fee, you get a certain number of games per month, anywhere from one game per month to unlimited games per month, and you got to keep those games. That would be pretty nice. But still, at the end of the day, I wanna own my media.
Yeah, and that's I think I covered this in an earlier episode.
Yeah, it was either your last appearance or the appearance before that. You talked about owning.
I think it was the appearance before that, because I think that was when you were. I think that was
Yeah,
when
it was when we were
you were
recording at my
physically there.
house.
Yeah.
All right, so shifting topics a little bit. Cam, you actually had this one written down. So you're into Airsoft, and we were talking a little bit about that yesterday. And
Yeah.
we got into a bit about how Airsoft can be used to understand the gun debate. You wanna get into that?
Yeah, basically, a lot of the weapons actually kind of very similarly function the way like an actual firearm would. So, besides the obvious, using air or electric, but I mean, it seems like you kind of gain this respect out of playing for a little bit. Handling like normal firearms, you understand that, yeah, they could actually hurt someone, but with like an airsoft weapon, it's a little bit more relaxed because it's not going to really hurt someone, but it could definitely leave a small mark.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's a greater way than actually purchasing like a full blown real steel weapon to, in a sense, understand how firearms work, how to care for one, actually, even, and also just kind of further your knowledge on firearms in general without actually having to buy real steel weapons.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate how it's kind of like it's kind of like training wheels for gun ownership in a way.
Yeah, because like with all of my airsoft weapons, I keep them always stowed away where nobody else will really touch them, and I also keep them unloaded, never full of gas or anything, and I treat them as if they were an actual firearm. I never aim it at anyone, and never aim it at anyone jokingly, and I also always wear eye protection. Always eye protection with
Oh yeah.
airsoft weapons. I've seen and heard the horror stories of people having to get rushed to the hospital after playing with one of these weapons because they weren't wearing eye protection.
Yeah, you definitely gotta, at the very least, you gotta wear some safety glasses.
Yeah, usually when cleaning my weapons, I usually just wear simple safety glasses. But when I'm actually out on the field, I wear a shadow resistant goggles. Usually that's what people are using. Some people use like a full face mask covering to keep safe.
You gotta wear a mask to keep safe, just in
Yeah,
general now.
everyone wear your mask, please.
Please wear a mask.
Please wear a mask.
That's a good thing that you brought up, though, about how airsoft can really teach you to respect firearms by removing the danger of it. Because if
Yeah.
you go to a shooting range and you've never held a gun before, you're gonna be terrified the whole time because it's like, if I don't handle this correctly, I could, at the very least, shoot myself in the foot or seriously injure or kill myself or others. So you don't really get
Yeah.
to appreciate why people like it. Um, but with airsoft, you get to experience it in a relatively stress-free environment.
Yeah, and also the community in general is like extremely open to like people who have questions who have never even fired a weapon in general. And so it kind of just takes away that like everyone's like an elitist. Like, no, everyone's there to help everyone and further everyone with their knowledge. And a lot of people who actually do airsoft do have real steel weapons and obviously treat them accordingly.
Yeah, I figure airsoft is a good way to get some practice in without actually shooting other people with a real gun.
Yeah. I mean, in reality, airsoft is literally just us playing dress up and shooting each other.
It's just it's LARPing as Call of Duty.
You want to role play in my army? Ooh woo.
Nuzzles barrel, ooh woo, do it, pussy.
Do it, motherfucker. Pull the trigger.
Do ooh woo it, motherfucker. But yeah, airsoft. I never really noticed until you brought it up yesterday. It gets you into the mindset of gun owners, and it makes you appreciate that guns are a hobby for many people.
Yeah.
And it also, on the other side, there are a lot of things that airsoft players, I don't know if that's the right word, airsoft players, that doesn't
Yeah.
seem right. Yeah, I guess airsoft players generally agree that there are some things that shouldn't be allowed in the game. And then that also gets you into the mindset of like, there are some restrictions that should be in place on this hobby.
Yeah.
So I feel like it really helps both sides of the gun debate get to like a middle ground in a sense.
Yeah, because we actually have like restrictions on like exactly like how much we rate our firing in joules with the impact of the BB, because we actually used to do FPS, which is feet per second, and around like the 350-ish FPS mark is where most CQB weapons place, and 400 to 450 is where most DMRs and snipers will place. But we actually found out a phenomenon a little bit ago, something called joule creep, which in airsoft there's a little bit more technicality behind it, especially when you deal with heavier weight BBs. So if you chronograph a 0.2 gram BB at about 350 FPS, or say it's shooting a little bit hotter at like 360, 370, you might end up being classified to be, only able to fire upon people who are about 50 feet out. Otherwise, you have to switch to a different lower powered weapon.
Right, and that makes total perfect sense.
But the thing is, though, is that what people were ending up doing then is putting heavier weight BBs. And since it's a heavier weight, it'll fly slower. But the thing is, though, is that it has more potential energy behind it. And so this is exactly how joule creep goes. Because what it is you're firing at a lower FPS, but you've got more energy behind it.
All right, let's get Craig out of here. So he just that noise, viewers, was Craig, our Discord bot, doing a little fucky wucky, so we're gonna kick him out.
He's being naughty.
I'm sorry, Cam, you were saying?
That's fine. But it's the idea that some people will usually, want to shoot around like the 1 to 1.2 joule range for CQB, and 1.5-ish to around there to be like DMR. But usually when you're in a DMR category, you usually just shoot for FPS because you're just going to be that far out anyhow. But if you're above, like, say, like 1.3 joule, you'll definitely be most likely classified as a DMR or sniper. Because, like, obviously, like, we have to watch our weapons in general, because that's why we chronograph. Because Novrich is a person, he runs a Airsoft website, obviously named Novrich, and he actually has a line of weapons that are a bunch of snipers and a couple handguns. But people have been known especially with the SSG-24 and the SSG-10, to mod these weapons to shoot at extremely high FPS, to which Novrich himself actually replaced the spring in the SSG-10, which is a sniper of his, and was getting it to shoot 5 joules. We're talking about that could go through, I guess, like some soda cans, maybe most definitely crack some safety goggles.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
he tested
maybe
it on
a little much.
Yeah, he tested it on a can of black gas, which is a propellant used for airsoft pistols and gas weapons, and it punctured straight through.
Yeah, so I could see how that maybe wouldn't be allowed on the battlefield.
Yeah, I forget exactly which type of spring he used for that, but it's a little absurd. And so that's why we also have like these regulations on them. It's just like, obviously, don't, be shooting 5 freaking joules with a 0.48 gram BB. For those of you who are curious on the subject further, it's a little bit easier to do the research on your own rather than having me explain it, because I might miss out on some key details.
Yeah. If you send me some resources on the subject, I'll have them linked in the description.
Yeah.
But yeah, so clearly, as you've outlined, there are certain things that are just not okay to bring to the battlefield. To play Airsoft and to have a good time and to win, you don't need to be able to crack people's safety glasses.
Yeah.
And I feel like
want to.
And I feel like once you get into that kind of mindset, you can apply that to other things. Like, okay, maybe we should ban bump stocks.
Yeah, because it's like the idea of like it's just excessive.
And maybe you don't need like a fucking bazooka to hunt.
Yeah, that, and also it's like there's also some techniques even in Airsoft that are sometimes outlawed at CQB fields. Because with some high kappa pistols, which are basically kind of, for anyone curious, kind of like an M1911-ish 2011 design, and since the trigger is just basically just literally a hair's length away from being able to fire, some people just spastically spam the trigger with their finger, and as suggestive as it sounds, it's called finger banging. But some players master this to be able to get like 15 rounds per second off just by finger banging. And some CQB fields actually outlaw that kind of technique because it mimics full auto, in which they have a lot of regulations on using full auto if you have a rifle.
No
because
full auto in the building!
But full auto is usually for something 50 feet or back, even further. Just so that way, you don't end up like full autoing some poor soul in the back because you burned your patch.
Imagine being that poor, that poor worker at the airsoft field that has to say over the loudspeaker, "Please no finger banging during the game."
Some refs are also really hesitant to call that out because they know exactly what it's called, but the thing is that there are children playing sometimes. Yes, there are children in this. I guess I would say it's a sport, but that's why I actually would prefer
Oh yeah,
this.
if cross country is a sport, so is airsoft.
Okay, you can shut the fuck up.
For those of you that don't know, Jake played cross country and you ran.
Not played.
Oh, so it's not a sport then, because you play sports. You don't run sports. My point has been made.
He rests his case.
He rests his case, he tucks it in.
Digressing back to the subject, though, that's why where it also comes into the idea of that there are children here. But I actually would prefer children get into airsoft than to say have, their rootin' tootin' gun owning father or uncle or whatever take them to a firing range when they might not necessarily know exactly the repercussions of misusing a firearm would
Oh
be.
yeah. That is definitely irresponsible behavior in my book.
Because at least with like an airsoft weapon, it'll hurt, but you can at least give like a stern wording to a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old for shooting you in the arm when they really weren't supposed to, versus you're being rushed to the hospital.
Yeah, or even like a full like BB gun or like a pellet gun. Like those are also options to regular firearms, but I mean even a BB gun will do a lot more damage than an airsoft gun.
Yeah.
Really, you think?
Well, no. I think what he's meaning
They
is
use metal
BB guns.
Oh, right.
So I would classify that actually as a different category, just pellet guns. More so just like either that or like metal BBs.
Yeah, like pellet guns are used to to kill like rats and stuff, like small vermin.
Yeah. Like say like you have a squirrel problem or something.
The Verminator. I'm sorry.
But for the most part, especially since the field that I go to is outdoors, we use biodegradable plastic BBs.
Yeah, those are definitely a godsend in airsoft. I used to play quite a bit just like at my house with my friends, and it didn't take long for like the porch and like the yard to be like covered with BBs. And at that point I didn't know that there were biodegradable ones. So it was a mess to clean up.
Yeah, but it's actually a rule at the airsoft field, also pertaining to regulations, that you do use biodegradable BBs instead of like those weird like translucent green ones or red ones or whatever. Usually all biodegradable BBs are like they look just perfectly white, but usually all fields that are outside will tell you to use biodegradables. I'm not exactly sure on the regulations for CQB fields, which are usually indoors. So I would say check with your local field to see exactly which BBs you would want to use. Because my guess is that they would most likely just sweep them up at the end of the day using like a vacuum or something.
They probably reuse them too.
Actually, that is another thing you shouldn't do. Because say it hits the wall and
that'll be deformed.
Oh yeah.
It could have micro cracks in it, and then therefore when you fire it again, it could fire and jam your weapon.
Yeah,
because it might shatter.
I have done that many times. I've reused BBs a lot. Luckily, I haven't like broken my gun because of it or anything.
Yeah, because don't ever reuse BBs that you fired, because they could just, in general, just from firing alone, they might produce like micro cracks or something. And if you fire them again and they do end up cracking, in higher priced weaponry, it could destroy, say, like your bucking, it could destroy your hop up, it could get stuck inside your inner barrel, and then that's just an utter mess, and then you're out like $40 because you got to get a new bucking.
Yeah, so if you do have a lot of spare used BBs,
just
don't reuse them, but also don't throw them out. They can be recycled into Dippin' Dots.
That's it. I'm going to load my SSP one with Dippin' Dots.
Oh my god, please. That's how you get me into Airsoft. Load it with Dippin' Dots.
But that's also like why people also say like, what weight BB are you using? Because if you're shooting at a high FPS, or in a sense more so high joule output, you're gonna want a heavier weight BB because you're using a lot of force behind that. So if you just put like .12s in it, you're gonna shatter the damn thing, and it's just gonna jam your gun. So like usually a lot of people end up settling around the 0.28 gram mark or point to 0.32 gram. But for snipers, sometimes people like to go even heavier with 0.36s, 0.4s, and even 0.48s. And so compared to like a regular, like say, air quotes, stock 0.2 gram BB, those things are heavy and they carry a lot of force behind them.
Yeah, so like in conclusion, there's a lot of things that both sides of the gun debate can learn from about airsoft. Like if you're anti-gun, getting into airsoft can help you understand the mindset of like a gun collector, someone who's just into shooting.
An enthusiast.
Yeah, an enthusiast basically. And if you're completely pro gun, anti any kind of regulations, airsoft can help you understand like, there's certain things that just shouldn't be allowed on something so dangerous. And also you should use recyclable bullets, biodegradable bullets.
Yeah. Well, usually though, say like with real steel firearms with like shells and such, those are made of brass. And so usually those are recycled. And so you just pick those up after you're done firing. And I believe that some places even will just take them for you for like a small lump of change.
Wow, I'm gonna be real. I was kind of kidding about the biodegradable bullets thing, but I did not know that you could actually recycle bullets.
Well, it's not the bullets, but it's like
The
the
casings,
shells.
I mean.
Yeah, it's the casings that are fired.
I know very
after.
little about guns, so I will never use 100% correct terminology.
But yeah, being as a person who's fired both real steel and just airsoft weapons, it definitely gives you a smaller perspective, while limited, into the idea of how gun ownership should be taken.
Moving on, keeping with the sort of, I guess, semi-political theme. So you had something that you wanted to say about socialism in the show notes?
This is where it gets even bigger controversy, because the full topic is Americans should stop fearing socialistic ideas.
Which I fully agree with, but yeah, make your case to the listeners.
In a sense, basically, we have a failed system. We basically just need to start adopting a lot more socialist rhetoric ideas, as in like the Scandinavians. So, like things like Medicare for all, a better minimum wage, and all of that.
But Cameron, that sounds like socialism, and that, from what I all I've heard about socialism is that it's bad and evil.
And that's exactly all people have. They don't really give a policy substance behind as to exactly
Get
why
your government
or if it would
hands
be.
off my Medicare.
But basically, it's like we've done the research, especially with, say, for the subject of Medicare for all. We've done the research. It will save an upwards of, at the minimum, $3 trillion.
Yeah, that's in line with what I've heard.
So it's not the idea though of how will we afford something like this. It's the idea of how can we not afford to do something like this? As if the current system will cost more than implementing a different system that will benefit all of the people, get rid of that for-profit mafia middleman that most people have, and overall benefit the better of society. Here, how about I put it like this? People don't really say they like their insurance. They like their doctors. They like their nurses. They like the people that they're seeing.
Do you, by chance, watch Kyle Kalinske?
Definitely.
Okay, yeah, because this is all stuff that I also talk about from Secular Talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, his show definitely deserves a lot more attention. Him and all the other progressive news outlets get fucked over by the YouTube algorithm, and yeah, anyone listening that hasn't watched or listened to Kyle Kalinske or Jimmy Dore, David Dole, and any of the others, I'll have their YouTube channels linked in the description. Keep in mind it is news commentary, so it's not like NPR, like this is what happened today and we will give no opinions on it. They do insert their opinions a lot, but they're definitely more educated than something like an Alex Jones.
Yeah. Or dare I say also, it's just a small fire will be shot, but Ben Shapiro.
Oh, we here at this show hate Ben Shapiro with a burning passion.
Wet ass P word.
Wet ass P word. Now let's just say, hypothetically, I put my Minecraft bed next to yours. Haha, I am just kidding. Unless.
JK, unless.
AOC, debate me and let me lick your feet. What? I didn't mean that.
Oh, that's cursed.
Hypothetically, I did mean that.
Yeah, definitely. I am a person who really supports secular talk. Yeah, that is the official YouTube of Kyle Kalinske. So he will be linking them in the description. But they are a left-wing media outlet solely built by him and a couple of other people. And he kind of has his own little commentary on things, on definitely more policy substance oriented, rather than you're not going to hear like, oh, well, Trump went on another Twitter rampage or Trump did this.
I, for one, think that the Orange Man is quite bad.
Is bad. Because you're actually going to get like actual policy substance, the things that he's researched himself along with that. And also, he just
and you're not getting any kind of corporate spin on anything. Like he doesn't answer to like a Jeff Bezos. He doesn't have any parent companies that have to worry about their bottom line.
He doesn't give major word salads like, was it Beto O'Rourke?
Beto O'Rourke and Pete Buttigieg, they are the masters at talking for a long time and saying nothing.
Filibustering.
Yeah, they filibuster every conversation they're in. I personally believe in decency, the American dream, and decorum, and I believe that putting democracy in jeopardy is very dangerous and bad. And the American family and democracy, might I add.
Did I mention democracy?
The spirit of democracy is the lifeblood of this great nation. That's the kind of stuff Pete Buttigieg tweets out. Like he literally word for word tweeted something along the lines of the spirit of democracy is the lifeblood of this country. I'll look it up. But yeah, anyway, back to the whole like socialism thing. Like, yeah, people fear the word more than they know about the concepts. Because like unless you're like a hardcore anarcho-libertarian capitalist, chances are you appreciate having a publicly funded education system, a publicly funded fire department. Police department is under some investigation. Pending further review, we'll get back to you on whether or not that should be at all. But yeah, we have so many publicly funded things that just people don't talk about because, you know, what is there to say about public roads? They're a public good. Of course we need them. You don't want to pay a toll every time you turn down a different street.
Yeah.
But if we had private roads and someone suggested, you know, maybe the public should own roads and, you know, the upkeep should be paid for with tax dollars, chances are you'd be attacked as a radical leftist socialist.
But then again, if you actually wanted to follow the idea of capitalism, I should start up a business and, you know, on every street corner, you just have to pay me, you know, 50 cents just to take a left turn.
Yeah, you know, that's private enterprise, you know, that's the lifeblood of this country.
Now, obviously, though, that is a little bit of an extreme example on the subject, but that's also where I can also stem into the idea of like something that actually was pretty much in jeopardy of becoming something like that, with the idea of Title II regulations that was slashed by Ajit Pai.
Oh, that scumbag.
That name just like
That old so-and-so.
it gives me like Vietnam flashbacks.
But
I
with
can't
Title
get
II
that picture
regulations
of him
slashed,
out of my head. The one where he's dressed as Santa and he has the fidget spinner.
Oh.
How do you do, fellow kids? I also like fidget spinners and having to pay for faster internet for specific websites.
But yeah, exactly that kind of idea. It's just that without those Title II regulations, you can, in a sense, basically. In fact, we're already seeing it, actually. We already have that exact thing because Charter is now coming out with, at least people in my area, you can pay for 100 megabits, 200 megabits, 500 megabits.
And in
My
my
friend-
area, you can pay for 2 megabit, 3 megabit, or 4 megabit.
Yeah, my friend actually
Laps in 300 megabit.
Yeah, my friend actually has a 200 megabit plan. I am kind of stuck with the air quotes default plan of 100 megabits. Granted, that's all right internet. That's completely fine internet.
That's
But
amazing internet compared
it's
to mine.
the idea of that people can get ahead by paying more.
Yeah, and I think the whole net neutrality issue isn't just about paying more for faster speeds. It's about certain websites being able to charge more for faster speeds, or more specifically, throttling certain sites that the ISP
Exactly.
doesn't like. So let's just say Comcast doesn't like a certain independent media outlet. They can throttle their speeds, and you're given less incentive to go to that. Or let's just say you have an ISP that's partnered with Netflix, and they want to say, all right, Hulu, you get slower speeds. Now, on Hulu or any other streaming service, you can stream up to 480p, but Netflix, you can stream 1080p or 4K if you wanted to.
Yeah, because it's like the idea of like if that website never loads, the person will just end up clicking off eventually. But if you have also lower video quality, you're less inclined to go to website A versus website B, which has full quality.
And this is where piracy comes in. I feel like America needs to focus on, at least for internet, they need to focus on getting fast internet in actual areas before they start, actually charging people for specific services for internet. Because I think a big majority of Benzie County, where we live at, or where I live at, hardly has good internet.
In general,
Yeah.
the US should treat the internet as now an almost necessary utility.
It is pretty much
Just like
essential
power.
nowadays.
Especially in the new normal, these uncertain times, internet access is an essential part of getting to work for some people.
Yeah, exactly. Like with my college class this semester, it's completely online right now. If I had terrible internet connection, I probably wouldn't be able to even attend my classes.
Yeah. Now,
I know
Benzie,
of-
as a district, did do certain things to sort of facilitate online learning. Like, if you requested it, you could take home a Chromebook, and I think that they were giving out some, like either they were like portable hotspots or like tablets that had like 4G. Which is definitely, that's a step in the right direction, but it's not enough. And I don't blame Benzie as a district for not going far enough. There just needs to be more investment in broadband for rural areas.
Right.
And for poorer
'Cause,
families that have students, it needs to be, you need to be able to access subsidized internet plans. And I think I go farther with that than most people are willing to. So, you have full permission to call me a dirty socialist.
Well, I think you have a lot of say in that because you had terrible internet for pretty much your entire time when you were at Benzie.
Yeah. The
So you
best
had-
I ever got was like a megabyte and a half download speeds, very high latency.
I think that's better than mine. Because mine is like 700 kilobit download speed, but I have relatively low latency. Because yours was satellite, right? Yours was HughesNet.
Yeah, it was HughesNet.
Yeah, so
yeah, your 700 kilobit. That's actually close. That's actually closer to what I had day to day. It actually got a lot lower than that too, though. It just depended on
the day.
Yeah, it depended on the day. It depended on if someone else was streaming something. Yeah, it basically tanks the bandwidth if you have, like one or two devices streaming something.
Well, that's how it is with me. Whenever I'm downloading something, or especially like uploading or live streaming, it's like literally impossible to use the internet.
Yeah, and now imagine you have that kind of connection, but you're a student or you're a parent of a student, elementary, middle school, high school, whatever it may be, and there's a pandemic going on, and your kid has to get to class. In-person school is either shut down or you don't feel it's safe to go in person. There is an option for joining a Zoom call for all the classes, but your connection just isn't good enough.
Okay, this I can kind of comment on. So I have so I've been, trying to do certifications in college and all that other kind of stuff. So one of the certifications that I need to take is my network. And they said, yeah, you can take your network exam online. I'm like, cool, perfect. And they're like, there's like this test, test example exam. And so I load it up and it's like download speed good, microphone input good, webcam good, upload speed not good for internet. You cannot take the exam. So I'm completely screwed. And I paid like $100 for this exam voucher at college.
Yeah, and
so I'm completely screwed out of that.
And so now you have to rely on either sitting outside in the school parking lot using their Wi-Fi, or going like to the library or something, sitting out in the parking lot to use their Wi-Fi. But even then, you have to depend on either being able to drive there, having a car to get there, or your parent driving you there.
Or it being open.
Yeah.
Because I can go to the testing center in Traverse City and do my test there, but they're closed down.
Yeah. I mean, you can still like sit outside of the library and use their Wi-Fi there, but you have to either have a car to get there, or your parent has to be able to take you, or I guess ride the bus there. But we're in a pandemic. Who wants to ride public transportation, especially if half the people, at least in Benzie County, don't want to wear a mask?
Right. And another thing is with a lot of these like proctored exams online, they're all, oh yeah, we're going to monitor everything. We want to monitor your webcam and, everything we can't have any movement in the background. So if you're sitting outside taking a test, if the trees are going to move in the background, it's going to cancel your test and give you a fail right there.
So wait, no movement?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's like no movement. You can't go outside of the, oh, here, you know what? Let me pull it up, because I sent it to one of my friends and I told them that this was absolutely ridiculous. I gotta find them now.
What happens if you have to like stretch?
Your SOL.
Your SOL.
So you have to sit perfectly still for the entire exam.
Pretty much. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I took a screenshot of it. So during the exam, the following will be restricted. Your browser will be in full screen mode during the exam, preventing you from opening any other programs. If you leave the exam, it'll end automatically. Any loss of network connectivity in the exam will end automatically. Please make sure your connection is stable during the entire exam.
Just like have a good connection.
Yeah, just have a good connection. Just live in a city and just have a good connection. Your clipboard will be disabled during the exam. Copy and paste functions will not work, and your current clipboard will be emptied. Once your exam is submitted, the browser cache will be cleared. You will not be able to begin the exam until you disconnect additional screens or monitors. You will not be allowed to open new tabs or windows during the exam. You will not allowed to be able to print the exam. You will not be allowed to download or save any external files during the exam. Your following information will be collected during your exam: your webcam, your physical location, your clipboard, your mouse location, your browser size, your browser tabs and windows, your head movements, your eye movements, your mouth movements, your entire screen, any website that you visit, any other applications running, and number of display and number of displayed screen connected. The results of your actions may result in policy violations at this institution's discretion. And that is why I hate proctored exams.
Yeah, that's a whole other can of worms that it would give me a headache to dig into everything that's wrong with that. But yeah, definitely.
I understand why they do it, so that people don't cheat, but that's little excessive.
Yeah, you shouldn't be punished for not being able to afford fast internet or living in an area where it's not available.
Yeah, because actually one of my friends didn't even get internet until like last month, because it's just stupid with the idea of he's literally on the border of two ISPs and they didn't want to touch him because it was controversy of where exactly he was.
Yeah, I had a similar issue at my house in Benzie, where like Charter's service ended like a mile down the road, so we couldn't get Charter, and for a while, like the only services we could get was like satellite stuff, like DishNet or HughesNet. We were gonna try to get Eclipse, which is a local ISP in Benzie. But we couldn't. They didn't have enough room on one of their towers, and the other one we couldn't get enough a strong enough signal on. So really, we had next to no options. Like even just trying, like I was visiting last weekend, and we were trying to watch a movie that I PA'd for last year.
Wait, hold on. You were visiting last weekend?
I was.
Dude, why didn't you tell me?
I was going to, but I mean, we were only visiting our families, so.
Oh, okay. It was just a real quick thing.
Yeah,
okay.
We were there like we got there very late Friday night, and then we were there Saturday, and then we left Sunday early afternoon.
Okay, never mind. That's understandable. Whatever. It's all good, man.
Yeah. But yeah, even trying to watch a movie on Amazon Prime with HughesNet's connection, we would watch like a minute of it, then it would buffer for a minute, then a minute of it would play, then it would buffer. It took a lot of patience. It took probably 2 hours to get through this hour and 20-minute movie.
And this is why you just make yourself a Plex server.
Oh yeah, I had to do that. Even movies that are like on Netflix or on Disney Plus or what have you, if I had it on DVD, I had to rip it to my computer to be able to stream it. Like some services are better than others, like in terms of like the bandwidth that they take up. Like YouTube and Netflix are pretty good on a low bandwidth connection. Hulu is a little bit worse, but it's still usable. Disney Plus, probably a step down from Hulu, but yeah, definitely Amazon Prime is the worst for a low bandwidth connection.
Well, I think they hardly put anything into that portion because not a whole lot of people use Amazon Prime Video anyhow.
Yeah. The entirety of the Amazon Prime Video budget just goes to The Boys.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, there's hardly anything.
Which, by the way, talking to you guys and the listeners, watch The Boys. It's so good.
I've thought about it. Michael Reeves made
baby go burr.
Baby go burr. And that's based off of like a comic book series, right?
Yeah.
But you don't need to have any knowledge of the comics or the
No,
characters.
no. I went in blind. You can still follow the whole thing. Any references to the comics are going to be subtle, so yeah, you can go in completely blind and still be able to follow.
Okay, poggers.
But yeah, that's definitely though why I would say the internet just needs to be regulated as like a public utility that is almost like a must like power and just made available to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that sounds like socialism. But yeah, you're definitely right that socialism needs to be a less taboo word. And luckily Bernie Sanders put a lot of work into making it more of a commonplace word.
Yeah. But it's mainly the idea of that people, because of the right's tailoring to the idea of like, oh, it's just like, oh, you like socialism, then do you support Venezuela? Do you support, that kind of
They always
dictatorship?
go to
It's like
Venezuela.
yeah, they always scream Venezuela or Cuba or whatever they want to do. And we just need to get rid of that because like that is not the way we want to run things. We're talking about a Scandinavian system that would benefit the will of the people. In a sense, the idea of like what Sweden has, Denmark,
Name
Finland.
one country where socialism has worked. Sweden.
Exactly.
Name
Sweden.
2 countries where socialism has worked.
Denmark.
Name 3 countries where socialism has worked.
The UK.
And when they don't do that,
Japan
they
has
call
socialistic
socialism
ideas.
communism.
Yeah, either that or they pedal it backwards. Like, oh, well, actually, you're just being communist. Then it's just no.
They move the goalposts.
Yeah, it's like if they can't get you on the idea of you're a socialist, they'll try and label you as a communist. I've been labeled everything under the sun.
Yeah, it's like they have a whole dialogue tree for political discussions.
Just like a predetermined dialogue tree for everything.
Exactly.
When they interact with people.
What my
Just like, are they a leftist? Call them a socialist.
Yeah, it's
calling
like,
them a socialist still
it's
working.
like
No,
it's
they're
a
communist.
flow chart. It's just a flow chart.
Are they left of center right? Call them a liberal. Do they say, I'm not a liberal, I'm a leftist? Call them a socialist. If they say, yeah, I'm a socialist, your point, call them a communist. If they say, I'm not a communist, bring up Venezuela. Now, my favorite thing, though, is seeing that dialogue tree break down. I saw a clip.
Well, I like seeing them break down, but
I saw this clip from Piers Morgan, his show that he has where he just is wrong about everything. And he had a young woman on. I don't know what the broader discussion was about, but he was basically saying like, oh, well, you don't like Trump, then what about Obama? And she was like, yeah, I don't like him either. And then she tried to like make a larger point, and he was like, well, you're hero Obama. And she was literally like, I am a communist, you moron. Because he called her like I think he called her like a liberal. She was like, I'm a communist, you absolute moron. And he literally, he just, even after that, he kept going back to like, well, you like Obama. Keeping with the political theme, closing out this political segment of the show. Cam, you had something to say about political ads?
Oh, I got some stuff to say about them too.
Yeah, basically, it's pertaining to the idea of mail ads. I just think they are an utter waste of paper.
Yeah.
Because usually by then, when they start sending out political mail ads, people have already decided exactly who they're going to vote for.
Yeah, like we keep getting at our apartment, we keep getting ads for like for Trump and ads for Biden. And we basically get equal amounts from both sides. And it's like, man, I can
Yeah.
only vote so many times.
Yeah. And the thing is that each day they just keep coming more and more. And it's just, by then it's just like, I get it. You're trying to advertise the campaigns of both, political parties, whichever
But you
way
sound
they are.
desperate.
Yeah, by then it just starts to turn desperate.
I was undecided, but then I got mailed a piece of paper calling Joe Biden a radical leftist, so I really had no other choice. The answer was clear.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that I have one mail ad that I will say was actually kind of good, and that was an ad against a person who was running, I believe, for Congress, if I'm correct, against a person called John James.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Gary Peters.
Yes, I believe it is Gary Peters.
Should be.
But it was basically kind of a small little thing exposing the idea that John James is bought by the big oil industry and big pharma industry and is not going to do any of your bidding. He is there for money, and that's it.
And he's a Republican, so you can basically assume that he's bought out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure I saw in I don't know. I don't remember where I saw it. I was trying to decide. I was like, okay, well, I'll look at I'm pretty open to both sides. Let's see what both candidates say. And I look at John James. It's like, oh, I support Trump 120%. I'm like, yep, not voting for you.
Oh, I saw an ad that was like, John James says that he supports Donald Trump 120%. And then it played a bunch of clips of Trump just being Trump. And it was like, do you support this 120%? And that was a pretty good ad.
Yeah, he's running for Senate.
Yeah, I've read up a little bit on John James, and yeah, definitely. What are you doing voting for him? Hypothetical John James supporters in the audience.
You're throwing your vote away. That's what you're doing.
Now, I don't know a lot about Gary Peters. I basically know that he's a Democrat and Republicans don't like him. Haley has told me though that he doesn't have particularly good policy positions. So I'd call this election a wash, honestly.
It really is. It's like, out of everybody in the goddamn world, how did we get these two idiots?
As bad as the Republicans are, how do the Democrats manage to only be slightly better sometimes?
Yeah, it really doesn't help, though, that Michigan in general is just an overall flip state. They can do whatever they want, basically. Whatever Michigan is, look at the 2018 election. That was the biggest mixed bag I had ever seen. Because some areas got Democrats elected, some areas got Republicans elected, and then we got our governor elected, to which she's received the biggest backlash because of the discourse in our state.
Yeah, she was literally almost kidnapped. That's how much some people hated her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Utter crap show.
I'm gonna say I am not proud to be an American. What an absolute shit show.
Yeah,
I'd rather be in any other goddamn country than this country right now.
Yeah, I will say I guess I'm proud to be from the same country as I don't know, Robert Downey Jr. He's cool. But that's basically the extent of how proud I am to be an American. Politically, I would rather be anywhere else.
Yeah. It's we do have some nice things going in the US. I mean, it's yeah, of course. I'm anything but poor, but we're definitely not the best off in my situation. Especially since my dad is basically just kind of working right now at kind of not really the most well-paying job out there.
Benefits, though. Benefits.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is that once I am gone, his military benefits for me, he actually gets paid for me being a full-time college student, and some of those benefits are going to drop.
Really?
Yeah.
So what is your take on the GI Bill and, basically if you join the military, you get to go to college for free and, like healthcare and all that kind of stuff? Because I have maybe a controversial opinion on it.
I feel the reason why they do that, the only reason why they do that, is just to get people who are down on their luck, who don't know what they want to do, to join the military.
Yeah. That's pretty much my take on it. I think offering like healthcare and education as like a perk of joining the military.
That should just be standard in the
Oh
US.
yeah. It's
Right,
a
can I just
ploy
say
to
something-
exploit the poor and get them to kill themselves for your oil.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, is that I will, as a person, with my dad being retired military, Navy to be exact, but either way, the healthcare is shit. Nobody takes our healthcare. Absolutely nobody takes our healthcare. It took us fucking forever just to find a dentist that would do my braces and my brother's. And in general, it took us like a year and a half just to figure out a doctor that would take our medical insurance, because they just didn't take it.
Really? Yeah, I've heard some negative things about like the VA and like veterans benefits in general, but
The benefits are not that good, actually. They're really not. It's like you go overseas and what do you bring back? I mean,
yeah, it's like you risk your life for, air quotes, your country, and then you come back with all kinds of mental like damage, I guess, like PTSD and stuff. And you can't even get treated for it with the benefits that were promised to you.
And
How
and
fucked
even
is
then,
that?
they're half-assed.
And if you have like a girlfriend or a boyfriend, they've most likely cheated on you on that during that time that you were away.
Yeah.
This
I mean,
veteran who was serving overseas for 2 years finally got to come home to see his 1-year-old daughter. Wait a second.
Okay. So yeah, we were talking about political ads, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, YouTube needs to calm the hell down with its ads.
Oh my god. Yeah, I cannot
It is
take
constant.
I cannot take it anymore. I keep getting an ad from the Trump campaign calling Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi the radical left, and I can only yell at my TV so much before my voice goes out.
It's gotten to the point where like I've actually considered buying YouTube Premium just so I don't have to listen to that shit anymore on my phone.
Honestly though, like $10 and you don't have to listen to political ads for the rest of election season, not a bad deal.
I think I might do that right about now. I'm not kidding.
Personally, I've thought of getting a pie hole.
Well, I can't use Pi-hole at work.
Right, but
Pi-hole is
though,
like ad block for your home network, right?
Entire network, yeah.
Yes.
Basically connected to your router, and it just filters any advertising traffic out.
Mm-hmm. Combine that with sponsor block on YouTube, and you're golden. You're set.
Sponsor block. I've never heard of that.
Oh, you're gonna love it. Okay, so you know how LTT, it's like almost like a 1 minute, 2 minute long sponsor video, or like sponsor.
Yeah, if we're not counting like the minutes worth of LTTstore.com sprinkled throughout all their videos.
Okay, well, I actually find
that's just
funny.
A meme, though.
Yeah, that.
But it's like right at the very beginning of their video, where it's just like, and this video is brought to you by Squarespace,
or like some other crap like that.
I miss Tunnel Bear.
And it goes into like a 30-second digress into Squarespace.
Yeah. But what sponsor block does is it analyzes the video as soon as it gets uploaded, and it'll take all the segments that are actually there's multiple segments that you can set up. If you can do sponsors, non-music video portions. So like if you like you wanted to listen to a music video or music or something, and you click on the music video, it's going to immediately skip to the music and skip all of the other crap. Huh. It'll skip sponsors, self promotions.
So how does it do that?
It'll basically run through the whole video and it'll analyze and say, hey, right here, is where it starts, and right here is where it ends. And then also users can also submit their own sponsor block times to be uploaded and then be reviewed. And then that'll be placed into sponsor blocks algorithms.
So it automatically detects any portion of a video that is that's sponsored. So I'm still confused on how exactly it can tell.
Well, I think they look for like keywords like, and this video is sponsored by, and then
Yeah, in a sense, voice recognition to what exactly is being said.
Right here. I'll share my screen real quick so I can show you. I'll share my screen. So here we have an LTT video, right?
All right.
So right down here where the screen bar is, says sponsor, and then right here where it says intermission, that's like their that's their intro, and then unpaid self promotion is the lttstore.com. Interaction reminders like be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, all that crap. And then the other sponsor.
That reminds me, if you like today's episode, be sure to like and subscribe.
leave a comment on leave a review on Apple.
Make sure
Apple.
to
Leave your answers in the comments
Reddit,
below. I'll pick my favorites on the next episode of Bold of You to Say.
Like and retweet.
But it'll also skip like end cards and credits. So let me see here. So I'll skip ahead quite a bit. So it plays through the video, and then it skips all of that, and it just basically ends the video after that.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, get sponsor block. Totally. I wish we were sponsored by sponsor block, but that would that be like an oxymoron?
I don't know.
Let's get sponsored by a company or a piece of software that blocks sponsors.
This video is brought to you by Adblock. No, it would be even better if it took all those sponsor segments and just replaced it with sponsor block. Just like just every sponsor segment is, this video is brought to you by sponsor block. Now, I normally prefer not to use ad block or anything like that. But if they made one that specifically targeted political ads, I would download it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think they're just getting like way too out of hand. And I guess for me, in my opinion, is if you keep on showing the same ads to me over and over and over again, it is a less chance that I'm going to vote for you because it's constant in my face.
Yeah.
It shows me that you're desperate, that you're needy, that nobody loves you, that your mom and dad got a divorce because of you.
John James, your parents never loved you.
Yeah. So I'm making a call-out post on my twitter.com.
Shadow the Hedgehog. So you're a strong guy with a strong back with another ass crack with another guy inside. Strong objections to my personal choices. This has been an interesting episode.
Yeah. Jake, do you want to do your thing about Disney movies?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay. So in my opinion, some of the most underrated or best movies that Disney has put out was during the 2000 to 2010 era.
So I got a little list here of movies. So you got The Emperor's New Groove, Monsters Inc., Lilo and Stitch, Spirited Away. Well, really wasn't Disney, but was published by Disney. Treasure Planet, Finding Nemo, National Treasure, Chicken Little, Cars, Ratatouille, Underdog, WALL-E, Bolt, and Up. I mean,
now, so this was from 2000 to 2010, right?
Correct. Yes.
And this is after what's referred to as the Disney Renaissance.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, definitely an underrated era. Being overshadowed by the Disney Renaissance. you
all the
definitely
classic
get the
stuff.
sense. Yeah, you definitely get the sense that like these aren't regarded as much of a classic as the Disney's as much of the movies from the 90s were.
Right. I think it'll be a little bit for people. I think. Okay. Well, people definitely enjoyed them when they came out, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I need to buy like all of the, I don't know, Snow White merchandise. I need to buy all of the, I don't know, Lion King merchandise. It's not like that. I think I think people like the movies, but they weren't like obsessed with the movies with I think some Disney people are. Um, but I feel like over time, I would say probably in a couple, I'll probably say like 4 or 5 more years, people are gonna have massive nostalgia for this era. Because I mean,
For sure.
to be honest, I already do. But I'm kind of biased because I grew up with these movies.
Yeah. And Cars is on this list of underrated classics from the 2000s. Now, is it any coincidence? Is it any coincidence that Cars 2, widely regarded as one of the worst Disney movies, came out in 2011?
They wanted to make sure that they didn't mess up the timeline.
There's a clear end to each Disney era. So the Disney Renaissance clearly ended with Tarzan, which is generally regarded as one of the worst Disney movies from that era, relatively speaking. I have a lot of nostalgia for it. I grew up with it. I personally I like it a lot, but I do see the criticism. I get where it's coming from, and it's all valid. But that was clearly the end of the Disney Renaissance. Cars 2 is the conclusion to the whatever you want to call the 2000s era.
And I guess once again, so one of the movies that I listed on there, Treasure Planet, super underrated. It failed horribly in the box offices because it was going up against movies like what would I say?
Didn't you say it was going up against Harry Potter?
The first Harry Potter movie, as well as Santa Claus 2.
Yeah, that is some tough competition. Having any movie going up against Harry Potter and Tim Allen, you're probably not going to do well.
It was, and it hardly got any. Oh goodness, it hardly got any like promotional stuff. Like there were hardly any advertisements for this movie. I think there was maybe like 1 or 2. So Treasure Planet is basically. Have you heard of Treasure Island, that movie or novel?
Yes, I have. We read the book and watched the movie in the 6th grade in English class.
Okay, so take Treasure Island, put it in space with pirate ships that can, with pirate ships that can fly in space with a cyborg that can shoot lasers.
Yeah, that sounds pretty badass.
Yeah, watch the damn movie. If you have Disney Plus, watch it right now. Or pirate it. I don't care. I don't care how you watch the movie. Just watch it.
For the record, bold of you to say, does not condone piracy.
I don't condone piracy, but if you need to, do it. risk your ISP.
If you don't have Disney Plus, get Disney Plus, and then once you're done watching The Mandalorian, go watch Treasure Planet.
You have with Disney Plus, you have a 1-week free trial. You can go through all Mandalorian and Treasure Planet in one day if you have nothing else to do.
If you have the courage.
If you have the courage, if you have the time. Because how long is typically every Mandalorian episode? Like 23 minutes long?
They're either half an hour or an hour. I don't quite remember. Let me look it up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let me log into Disney Plus real quick. Oh, okay. I'm gonna send you a link of a YouTube video. I think it's called like Why Treasure Planet is Disney's worst movie or like worst selling movie.
or like worst performing movie or something like that. It's a relatively long video. It's like 40-minute long, but it goes into really good depth about like the process of like why it failed and the everything behind it pretty much.
Yeah. So, all right. So each
Okay,
episode is
so-
about 35 minutes for the
30,
Mandalorian.
yeah.
Now, weren't you
Okay.
saying on one of your previous appearances that Treasure Planet they either invented or had to perfect some new animating technique for that movie?
Yes, it was actually used originally for Tarzan. It was kind of like a combination between CGI and traditional animation. I don't remember exactly what it was called.
Yeah,
But it
I've
was
seen
like
I've seen
a-
videos on it. I'll have one linked in the description under additional resources.
It was a combination of the two. But it was really really good. But certain aspects of like certain characters or like I believe the ships are kind of like rendered in like that kind of like 3D model kind of thing. But it doesn't look poorly done. It looks like really well done.
Yeah.
Especially for I think it came out in 2002 from what I remember.
Yeah. It did come out in 2002. I just looked it up.
Okay, let me calculate the time here of how long it would take you to watch the entirety of The Mandalorian and then Treasure Planet. Okay, so 5 times 8. Okay, 280 minutes.
So it's about 4 hours to watch The Mandalorian.
Yep, 4 hours to watch The Mandalorian, and then Treasure Planet is 95 minutes, so an hour and a half. So you can watch the entirety of the Mandalorian and Treasure Planet within 6 hours. So that's that's a quarter of your day.
Yeah,
Which I-
viewers get on it.
Yeah, get on it. I think that's doable, even if you're working a job. I think that's doable.
Yeah, if you're working, you probably got a day off. You can get that 1 week free trial, watch all of The Mandalorian, and then Treasure Planet. Oh wait, you will have to watch The Mandalorian season 2, which is coming out a week from today when we're recording.
Right, yeah, so results may vary.
So just tack on another 4 hours, and then that's your running time. But
There you
definitely
go.
you can get that done in a couple days tops.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's it. I mean, unless you guys wanted to comment more on the Disney stuff.
No, I think that's a good place to close it out.
Alrighty.
Thank you for listening to Bold of You to Say. If you like today's episode, please like and subscribe. Please turn off sponsor block for the next minute and a half. If you're listening on YouTube, you can leave a comment with anything you'd like us to cover next. Share with a friend that you think would like the show. If you personally didn't like the show, share it with all of your friends. Chances are one of them will like it.
Just don't have your friends listen to either. Was it either Does Sex in the Matrix Counts or Gays People Belong in Star Wars, the one where Jared talks about Bionicles porn?
Yes. Just listen to all of our episodes, and whichever one has Bionicles in it, that's the one we're directing you to.
As soon as Jared mentions Bionicles, just leave the episode and go to the next one. Trust us, you'll be saving yourself.
If you want to support the show, you can leave us a donation on our website. You absolutely do not have to do that. You will get nothing out of it. If you don't want to spend money, you can leave us a review in app if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, or I think Overcast has that feature. Basically, if you can leave us a review, do it. Yeah, other than that, like, comment, subscribe, whatever your platform allows. Download all of our episodes just to help with analytics. That's that would help out a lot.
We got those new 5G networks coming up. Come on.
Tweet out this episode and just say something along the lines of, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe they said that. Listen until the end to find out what I'm talking about." And then they're gonna get to this point.
Emoji.
They're gonna get to this point, and it'll be the surprised Pikachu meme. That'll be their face. All right, until next time, this has been bold of you to say, and I don't know how to sign off yet. I don't have a catchphrase. I need a catchphrase. I'll steal one. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing off. Have a good one.